After a successful inaugural edition of the Women's Premier League, something we have been waiting for since so many years, now it's the second edition of the league is set to begin on the February 23rd. And today we will be talking about Delhi Capitals, the runners-up of the last season of the inaugural edition. They lost to Mumbai Indians, who were the ultimate champions, and they lost to them in the final. It was a hard-fought final, but I think the way Delhi Capitals, the way they played throughout the tournament, they were the table toppers as well and stormed directly into the finals. I think their performance overall was great, and of course thanks to their captain, the five-time World Cup winning captain Meg Lanning, who recently retired from international cricket. And now, yes, she'll be leading Delhi Capitals this time. So, do you think Sabya, now, and I have Sabyasachi by the way joining me in this discussion, and do you think Sabyasachi will Delhi Capitals be able to take their game notch up and not just finish up as the runners up, rather lift the trophy?
See, the Capitals already have a strong team. They have the likes of Jess Jonathan, they have the likes of Alice Capsey, Jemima Rodriguez, who can all do well. But then somewhere they haven't quite plugged the gaps in their team. From the mistakes they made last year, those gaps are still open. So last year, if you notice that in the final and even in the league stage against Mumbai Indians, they struggled against the likes of Hayley Matthews, Amelia Kerr and all. That's because they lack left-handers. They only have someone like Jess Jonathan who bats left-handed. Other than that, they do not have a left-hander who can take on the left-arm spinners or leg spinners if needed. So that is one part I think Capitals need to look into to perform better than last season. And in the auction, they could have easily brought someone like Chamari Atapattu or a Kim Garth. Atapattu went unsold. That was a big surprise for all of us. And Kim Garth recently in the ODI rankings, she gained a lot of places up after what she did in the ODI series. So that is one place. The lack of left-handers is one place that Delhi Capitals are a little weak.
And despite the auctions this last year in 2023, they went for Sutherland, who didn't really was not really economical. She went for a lot of runs for UP Warriors, and I think there was a lot of loopholes. There were a lot of gaps that they could have managed to fill, and they still, as you mentioned about Chamari, instead of Sutherland, maybe they could have gone for someone like Chamari or a Kim Garth. And I think there were a lot of loopholes that the gaps that they couldn't fill in the auctions.
See, Annabelle Sutherland has been playing for quite some time now, but in the T20 format, she is yet to show that level of consistency to be a part of a tournament as big as the WPL. If you remember in the last season of the WPL, against the UP Warriors, she needed to defend 19 runs of the final over. She ended up conceding 24 runs. Grace Harris took her to the absolute cleaners. And then she had an economy rate of 11.72, which is most probably which was the second most expensive by a Gujarat bowler. So, and even with the bat, she wasn't as effective as one would expect her to. So I'm not sure about Sutherland's recruitment because she has done well in T20 leagues, but then when it comes to playing in India, it's a different ball game altogether. Because in Australia, you will get pitches where where pacers will get support, but in Indians, the batters will more like to face the pacers as the ball tends to come on slow. So in place of her, Chamari would have been an excellent option because Chamari not only gives you a strong batting option, plus Chamari also gives them a strong batting option, plus she can also bowl handy off breaks. So that would have added to the Delhi Capitals' strength. And one place where I feel the Delhi Capitals made a mistake was release Tara Norris. Last year, if you remember, they had the luxury of playing one associate cricketer, and that comes with Tara Norris. That came with Tara Norris, and she picked up a 5-wicket haul last season. But still, the Capitals let her go, and which means that they have to bring in some Indian cricketer to fill in her spot.
Come on, Sabya. I mean, they were the runners-up. We should be talking something good about the team as well. We have been just discussing all the negatives. And with a team like this, with a league like this, you expect some new, young, talented prospects, right? So, who do you think can be that young Indian prospect that Delhi Capitals will be giving the Indian cricket setup this time?
The most exciting prospect for me is young fast bowler Tita Sadhu. If you remember, she won the Player of the Match award in that Under 19 Women's T20 World Cup in South Africa. She gave away some 7 runs in her 4 overs and won the Player of the Match. Then she got called up by the Delhi Capitals, and although she didn't play a whole lot, we'll expect her to play more this season. And if you remember in that ODI against Australia, she got the wickets of Ash Gardner and Beth Mooney, who are currently two of the best batters. Gardner is one of the best all-rounders, but Mooney is going through a purple patch, and the best of bowlers have found it difficult to get rid of Mooney. So dismissing a batter of that high quality speaks a lot about Sadhu. I'm really excited to look forward how she bowls in the WPL, and she is an excellent. She's a generational talent for India.
And let's talk about the star of the team, Meg Lanning herself. As I mentioned that she recently retired from all the formats for Australia. So with the captaincy burden not being there on her, especially for the international cricket, I think she would look to play more freely and lead the team from the front as she did last year as well. And she was among the top run scorers and was the top scorer for her franchise herself with over 350 plus runs. She truly knows how to lead the team from the front with the bat, with her captaincy, and with she's that one player, that one captain who owns all the trophies that have been ever existing. And I think this is that one trophy that is not there in her kitty, missed out last year by just as they were the runners up. So is this the time for Meg Lanning to have all the trophies to ever exist in the cricketing history?
See, as far as Meg Lanning goes, M for Meg, M for Magic, and M for Midas Touch. So Meg Lanning, no matter what made Australia a brute force was not that they won matches, but how Meg Lanning always used to find some way or the other to bail her team out. Even in the worst of situations, Lanning used to just keep her head. Even in all world tournaments, I remember in the T20 World Cup semi-final last year when Harmanpreet was going all guns blazing, Meg Lanning found out a way to restrict them, and Australia ended up winning the match comfortably, and they went on to become the champions. So that's what separates Meg Lanning from the other captains in the world. And even last year she flourished as a captain for the Capitals, although the Capitals just couldn't go all the way.
Couldn't cross the line.
Yes, and although Meg Lanning is out of the international scene for quite some time, but she has been performing for her team Victoria in the Women's National League Cricket and for Melbourne Stars and for Melbourne Stars in the Women's Big Bash League. So one would expect that Lanning, given the kind of skills and given the kind of talent she has, one would expect Lanning to come out and perform the way she has always done over the years since her debut.
So Delhi Capitals, a team with a unique blend of experience as well as young, new, talented prospects. It will be interesting to see if they will be finally able to cross the line and win the title of the second edition of the Women's Premier League. This is me, Dia Kakkar, signing off with Sabyasachi.